Welcome back to the Crypto's Key conversation, man. As you can see, we kind of having a big sell-off here. We're about down 8% in the past 24 hours alone, in XRP sitting at 48 cents, and the rest of the market seeing some blood here at 3% down. We're going to jump straight into the content here, though. I like this from XRP Crypto Wolf. He says, why would anyone sell XRP when Judge Torres is closer to a ruling in favor of Ripple with the eyes? And I kind of feel the same way. Like, either way, whether you like XRP or not, like, if you know that there's going to be some sort of judgment coming out of summary judgment, and all the evidence is kind of pointing towards Ripple's favor, and obviously XRP benefits from that, why wouldn't you play that in that sense? That doesn't even go to the people that actually hodl XRP for, its value and, them being a part of the community. But it's just interesting that there's a lot of people selling. But hey, people have their own agenda. It's all good. I wanted to touch on Jungle Inc.'s tweet threads here. He also always has like a different perspective, and I call it like sound insight, where he kind of just takes like a bunch of different information and he really just formulates his own thoughts and opinions on things. So I kind of respect his approach to the market. He goes, in some ways, the Hinman documents were more powerful than expected. So he's saying this because there's been people speculating in the community saying, oh man, that was kind of like a big nothing burger, and we expected all this extravagant stuff to come out of these Hinman emails, but we barely got anything. But just like him, I kind of think differently. I think we've been validated in what we've been saying. We can truly say now there is no grand conspiracy that the likes of Charles Hawkinson's and other people within the crypto space have been saying about XRP. The XRP community. It's like, no, we've been validated. ETHgate is real, and there's other stuff too. He goes, the SEC acknowledges that Hinman was making up his own tests not based on the law. They also admit this creates confusion. SEC admits if someone is using a token, it is not a security. This is good for ODL. The SEC admits they are not even sure on Ethereum and may want to change their stance in the future. SEC admits there are regulator gaps that they may not have authority over. The SEC listed the Hinman speech on their website to guide the market. Clayton personally directed market participants to this speech. The whole crypto space shifted to be compliant with his guidelines. If the SEC wants to shift policy, do so with further guidance, not enforcement. I mean, I think he really hit on the head there, man. And it's crazy that people really think that there wasn't power behind, the release of these emails. I mean, I was listening to John Deaton and the all-star panel that he had talking about the Hinman emails and the documents and the drafts, and I mean there was a lot of validating and a lot of powerful things that are beneficial for the entire industry, especially the likes of Ethereum, Dragon Chain, XRP, of course, Ripple, the company, a lot of good stuff there. So it's just interesting that people are just like, they were kind of like expecting something different, and it's like, well, we already kind of knew what we knew. We just have further proof that proves what we already knew, in a sense. Plus, we know some more stuff too, a little bit more details, connecting more dots. I wanted to play this from digital perspective, and this was the all-star panel that Hinman had earlier, or not Hinman, about the Hinman documents that John Deaton and Crypto Law had put out. But it says, overall thoughts on Hinman emails. Wow, there's something going on. It says, wow, there's something going on there. Let's take a quick listen into this.
There's no big bombshells that we're seeing in these emails. There's nothing that jumps out at you saying, haha, Ripple's going to win, or haha, the SEC is going to lose. There's nothing in these emails that screams that out. There's no, we were kind of thinking maybe there would be someone in the email that would have said, hey, what about XRP? It's just like Ether. Why aren't we including that in our analysis? So we don't get anything like that in the emails. I think when I first read the emails, the first thing that jumped out to me was that I got this feeling that is really bad for Hinman of all the people involved. It's obvious that he was pushing the Ether free pass, which had just been some conjecture on Twitter up to this point. And then we really see in these emails that right from the get-go, he even named, like, the title of his first email was, the Ether speech. And right from the get-go, he's saying Ether is not a security, and that was the point of him making the speech. And you got to think, well, why did he have to use Ether as an example? Why couldn't he just say once an asset reaches a certain level of decentralization, then it's no longer security? Why did he have to use Ether? And I think what I came away from reading the emails was, wow, there really was something going on here. and I'm really focused on the case. But I think if I was, William Hinman, I'd be more concerned about these emails than maybe if I was the SEC.
Which, I mean, I think a lot of us can agree with. I think he has a very interesting over the target take there. And shout out, Jeremy Hogan always being sound and solid for the XRP community. It's huge, man. But yeah, I think we can agree with that for sure. I would definitely be having a hard time sleeping at night if I was William Hinman. Coming over here, Jungle Eek has another tweet here that I liked. It says, "Is the problem that XRP was created? Then Bitcoin is the security. Is the problem that Ripple profits from the sale of XRP? Then Ether and all its altcoins are security. Maybe the issue is Ripple's continued hand in development. ETH just launched a new chain and swapped everyone's tokens. So they went from proof of work to proof of stake." He says, "I look to Vitalik for the roadmap. I pay Joe for access via Infura. What the F can we do specifically to get into the exclusive club? Hashtag XRP." And man, if you don't feel the emotion and frustration and real confusion in this, meaning confusion as to, what do we need to do in this tweet? I mean, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know where you've been, but I mean, I even replied here, says 100 over the target. Like, seriously, it's shameful that this is kind of this cohorted effort to, pretty much tarnish, the rest of the crypto space, but in particular, Ripple, the company, and digital asset XRP. It's just unfortunate. Ashley Prospers has some great tweets today too. Says, Hinman deposition shows his speech was intended as agency guidance, but because he went rogue and insisted on including ETH, the agency had to try and disclaim his speech as personal opinion, but then realized that that opened them up to discovery. They tried and failed miserably to put the genie back in the bottle, but Judge Netburn and Judge Torres would not have it. So obviously, if you've been a part of this community listening to my videos or, the likes of DAI and other XRP and crypto YouTubers, we've been explaining this, especially with these new release of these Hinman emails. We see that there was actual representatives within the SEC that were telling William Hinman, like, hey, no, don't do that. Like, you got to change that. You don't want to do that. But he went about his own way and still, got on the phone with Vitalik and then, obviously had some other meetings and phone calls and, agendas behind his whole plan there. And he went and gave that speech at the Yahoo Finance conference or whatever it was. And, obviously gave Ethereum the free pass. So now they were, pretty much covering their butts throughout, litigation with this whole personal opinion thing. And obviously as we know in this community, they flip-flop a bunch of different times. And that's why Judge Netburn and Judge Torres was talking about they have an unfaithful allegiance to the law, which is just, that's probably the most embarrassing thing that can possibly happen for legal representation, especially for the legal representation that's supposed to be for the people. It's crazy. We're taxpayers that are funding their positions, their seats, and they're supposed to be set out to protect us investors, but no, they have their own personal agendas, protecting the incumbents and lining their own pockets. It's crazy. We know ETHgate is real, and that's a huge positive, man. I don't see how people could be so frustrated by the lack of, like Jeremy Hogan says, the wow of the release of these emails. Like, no, there's a great information that we can further expand, and it's more power and validation for us. ETHgate is real. This isn't something that we're crazy, like, oh, XRP community is crazy and wild speculators. It's like, no, like, this is a real thing. It's crazy. Anyways, John Deaton says, what's important about this meeting on August 18, 2018 is that on June 13, I'm assuming that's 2018, Clayton and Hinman received an XRP memo analyzing XRP under Howey. How they concluded XRP was security, you would expect Hinman and Clayton to respond in Brad Garlinghouse purgatory comment with, quote, "We didn't give you clarity in the speech with ETH because XRP is a security. We had our people do a detailed analysis and that's what they found." Or just say, "Brad, XRP is a security." They didn't say stop selling XRP, Brad, because you're violating the law. And that's the thing. Like, maybe they didn't say, well, they didn't say anything. Obviously, we know they redirected. Anytime they were asked about, hey, what do we need to do? What is XRP? How do we move forward? They redirected that and say, hey, tell us about your business. So they didn't say anything, but like, if they really believed what they've been saying within litigation over this time as XRP is a security, why didn't they say anything? Why didn't they stop, Brad Garlinghouse and Chris Larson and Ripple from selling? It's crazy. Tyler Winklevoss has a good tweet here too. It says, the Hinman emails show the SEC itself is totally confused on how to regulate crypto. It is incredibly dishonest for Gary Gensler to claim that the rules are clear when the rule makers themselves don't even agree on them. But it is downright evil for the SEC to bring lawsuits and try to destroy crypto companies under the false premise that the rules are clear when they are not. And that's probably the most infuriating thing, seeing Chairman Gensler go on his get on his high horse and going through all these little media tours, doing all these interviews saying, the rules are quite clear. It's like, no, they're not. Even within your own agency, there's discrepancies. You guys don't agree. You guys don't even know what these rules are. There is no rules. You're just making it up. Regulation by enforcement. It's not just regulation by enforcement. It's delay as well. And obviously, we know being in the community, Coinbase is going through that right now. I like this. This is from Warren Davidson. He was on this interview here with this CNBC. So let's take a quick listen into this.
Congressman Davidson, thank you for joining us. What is your biggest beef with SEC Chair Gary Gensler?
Boy, it's a long list. He's been so bad at his job. I mean, frankly, what he's highlighted is we don't just have a Gary Gensler problem. We have a problem that's structural with the SEC. So part of it is Gary Gensler has been uniquely bad. There's been more rulemakings under his leadership than at any time since Dodd-Frank passed. Dodd-Frank was a major overhaul of the financial regulatory framework, so you would expect lots of rulemaking. All that happened with Gary Gensler is Gary Gensler became chair of the SEC. They've averaged like 2 rulemakings a month. They normally don't even have a long comment period, so it's shortchanged. He clearly doesn't have the legal authority to implement an ESG rule to change the reporting and disclosure requirements for every publicly traded company, but he's forging ahead anyway. With respect to crypto regulation, it's like Hotel California. You can check in, but you can never leave. They go into endless discovery. Almost no one ever gets a no action letter after years and years of discovery. He's trying to overhaul the market structure for equity markets. We have the best capital markets in the world, and he wants to fundamentally remake them in a way that basically says to retail investors, to protect you, we're going to keep you from participating in the market. That's not investor protection, that's investor exclusion. And so fundamentally, I think every layer of this has been bad from Gensler, but it highlights really we have to get back to a weaker chairman and a stronger commission.
Well, and obviously that's the agenda that they're pushing. That whole hashtag fire Gary Gensler here is they're trying to create this new structure within the SEC, have a panel of overseers or a chair, or I forgot what they call them, but you pretty much have a panel of overseers of the actual the SEC, the head of the SEC, which is. Yeah, something obviously different needs to happen. I mean, they need to create something new that is appropriate for the digital asset and crypto space, hands down. And we know that. And we know that Chairman Gensler SEC aren't out to protect us. They can care less about us. And I'm not saying all the SEC. I'm saying, obviously, the likes of him. Continuing on over here, Digital Asset Respondent said, "This is great, Warren Davidson, but will you defund the SEC's crypto activities if you can't get this passed? My understanding is that you guys can do this. Is that true? Is that your plan B? Will you follow through? If this is just a political thing where you want to appear to be doing something when you know it won't pass, this means nothing. Americans are as sick of the BS political appearance moves as we are of the corruption itself." Shout out DAI, man. That is such a sound and straight to the point tweet there. Let me go ahead and do this while I'm here. Love it up. Over the target, literally. I mean, that's literally, I mean, it's crazy how much like the XRP community in general, right? How much like this whole corruption we've been talking about, how much that surfaced through the XRP community and how much knowledge has been gained from, to everyday investors like myself, just from, us being diligent in finding information and sharing it, retweeting it, making videos. Like we're starting to see more and more of the blatant corruption and, as he says, these political appearances that don't do anything good for the American people in general. We're sick of it. And it's so true. And I believe we have some representatives out there that are really setting out truly at their hearts to fight the good fight. So we'll just kind of see how things happen. It's kind of a waiting game. There's been this talk of 2025, so we'll kind of see what's up. This is from Marvin. It says the SEC is trying to change the legal definition of exchange as part of their ongoing effort to shut down crypto and decentralized finance. And then Paul Graywall says, Yesterday, we filed a comment letter on the SEC's proposed rule that seeks to expand the definition of exchange into DEXs. This proposal should not be adopted, and certainly not before completing the threshold steps for any rulemaking. So that's even with Senator Warren Davidson was talking about, like, they're making up their own rules as they go. There's nothing there that's, from a legal and just standpoint. Like, there's no standards. There's no, they're talking, obviously they talk about the Howie from, what was it, something 37, something a while ago, right? Nothing that it can truly be pertinent to digital asset space and today. But like, they're just making up their own rules as they go. There's really no book or, as you could say, document that, these innovators can go to and see if they're doing things the right way. And they want to keep it, confusing and ambiguous and almost keep you guessing. So you mess up until the end, so they can come get you. That's kind of been, I guess you could say, the rules or the policies that the SEC and Chairman Gensler have been, operating by. It's crazy. This is from Cointelegraph. It says, Hinman Docs suggests SEC is the wrong agency to govern digital assets, crypto lawyer says. So we're talking about John Deaton, and I completely agree with that. This one says the documents do assist Ripple and others in arguing that the speech caused greater confusion in the markets, causing market participants to lack adequate notice of what was prohibited by existing law. I think the speech documents are good for Ethereum ever being called a security by the SEC. It also could help ERC20 tokens like Dragon Chain because those tokens are governed by the Ethereum blockchain. And if SEC claimed the network was sufficiently decentralized, then those tokens have even a better fair notice argument than Ripple. And then he says a couple of different things. I think the documents are a call for an IG investigation into why the speech was insisted by William Hinman. The Office of General Counsel warned against given Ether a pass, and the director of trading markets specifically said the speech would lead to greater confusion in the market, but Hinman was determined to give it. In his email, he called the speech itself Ether speech. So obviously there's a lot more, but those are some of the big takes that Cointelegraph had got out of John Deaton. It's crazy, man. And out of everything, this clip constantly comes in my head from, this man here. Listen to what he's saying here. Elon Musk.
I want to be clear. I do not respect the SEC. I do not respect them.
But you're abiding by the settlement, aren't you?
Because I respect the justice system. I want to be clear. I do not respect the SEC. I do not respect them.
It's tragic, man. These people are supposed to be set out to protect us and to be for us, and they're absolutely not doing that. There's a lot of good that came out of those Hinman emails, man. I really hope that you all out there are keeping your chins and your heads high, man, because I mean, there's not much we can do outside of, getting involved in these class action lawsuits, tweeting, retweeting, liking, making content and continue to educate yourself and try to fight the good fight in the best way you can. When it comes to, these bigger plays, if you will, there's bigger players in our industry that are fighting that fight for us. And we just got to assist them in every way possible we can. I know a lot of voting and stuff can make a significant impact, but a lot of it's still a waiting game. You got to keep your eyes open and formulate a thought process when it comes to your investing strategy, your trading strategy, and how you do things within this space that fits you, your goals, and best supports you and your family. Because at the end of the day, that's the only people that care about you is you, yourself, and your family. Man, I hope you guys are all good out there. Make sure you come to the Crypto's Key Conversation YouTube channel. Subscribe. Follow us on Twitter at Crypto's Key 1. I really appreciate your support out there. With all that being said, stay strong out there and be safe.